Hello, everyone. What's going on? It has been a while. I have been on maternity leave. Reginald and I, we have had our fifth child, a little boy named Noah, the day after Christmas. So I'm back, and today I am here with the inventor and the founder of Porshair. Her name is Porsha Bursey. She is a Dallas native, and she is going to give us some great nuggets today for any inventors out there. And the cool part, the reason why we're talking to her is because she actually invented something that is in the hair space. So, how are you today, Porsha?
I am wonderful. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for taking the time out. And I want to talk a little bit, we can kind of talk about your product and how you came up with it. And also the process of getting the patent. That's the what we want to really get into. As a lot of you know, there's not a lot of representation when it comes to technology, and a lot of African Americans hold in patents. Did you want to kind of speak about that a little bit? We'll start there first.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I was actually driving one day and the idea just came to me just out of nowhere. And I was thinking, wow, no one has ever done this. And so I end up finding a lawyer 3 months later. And the process started. So I submitted a provisional first. And so a provisional patent is a patent that you have a year to decide what you want to do. And so since I was a fresh inventor first time, I didn't really know what the process. And so if you file this patent, it doesn't really go to the patent office. You file it with the patent office, but the examiner doesn't look at it. It's almost like a placeholder. And so
Okay.
within a year, you have to file the formal patent, which is a non provisional patent. And so I filed the first one in 2014. I filed the next one in 2015. And it took me 2 years to get my patent. The
Wow.
whole process was 3 years. And so I got rejected twice before I
Whoa.
was able to receive my patent. And so when you get rejected, it's called office actions. And so when you get an office action, the lawyer has to rewrite, he has to amend your patent. And that is like a 3 month process, 3 to 6 month process each way. So you have like 3 to 6 months to write it, amend it, send it back to the examiner. Then they'll take up to 6 months to respond. So that's why the process takes so long. Because
Oh my
between one
gosh.
office action is like 1 year. And
Oh
so
wow.
I got rejected twice and I was able to get the patent. And looking back, when I first started, I wanted to go to one of the big box companies because I wanted to merge with them and tell them about my idea. This was in 2014. And my lawyer told me that I was not ready. He said, "You're not ready to go to them." He said, "A lot of them will bring you on to bury them, to bury you." But he said, "You're just too soon." And you would be doing more harm because they would take your idea. Because I was like a baby fish talking to a whale, right? And so, what a lot of companies do, they look to small companies to innovate, and then they'll bring you on to them. And so, the process of getting a patent is so long, it's exhausting, it's trying. A lot of people wait years, 5 years, and they still don't have a patent because they're going back and forth with the patent office because you really have to claim that this is new, this has not been done. And if something has been done, what they'll do, they'll pull another patent and tell you how your patent differs. So you have to really show them how you differentiate. And it's just a long process, and you got to have faith. You got to have faith, determination, and you got to have money because patents are not cheap at all. Patents are not cheap. Typical patents will cost you almost $10,000 up because you have to allocate for the office actions. Every time you get an office action, a lawyer will charge you $1,500 to $2,500 to amend it. So since I got two rejections, I should have been charged an additional $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. There's a little bit of feedback, so like I'm going to. I don't hear this much now, but if I hear it, like I'm just gonna like mute it a little bit, and then I'm gonna take you off like really quick because I just don't want it
Okay.
to ring back. But so an office action is essentially a rejection.
Mhm.
So if I mean, what? How could they reject your idea? Like, I don't understand. Like, a lot of people may not understand, like, why would they reject it?
Sometimes a patent examiner doesn't really understand. And so, from our community, I'm trying to describe a black hair product to someone who is a counterpart. And so, a lot of times they don't understand the importance of it. They don't understand how it differentiates. And so, you just have to, you get rejected because you need to prove that this is really, really new and how it differentiates.
Gotcha. So, can you talk a little bit about the Porshair product?
Yes. So initially, our product was for on the go, when you're in your car. But now we have pivoted to, yes, we want your product. We want you to be able to use Porsche in your car, but whenever you're not in a building structure. And so we have a new technology that has literally never been done. So we're in the process of filing our new patent, which we're so excited. And I really believe this, the hair market won't see it coming because I feel like it's 5 years ahead. The first product was 7 years ahead of the game, but I think this one is so ahead of the game, and I think it's the new trend for the market, and so I'm really excited about it.
That is amazing. So we and okay. So one of the things we talked about, and I kind of want to hit on that, is a lot of people are on Clubhouse. Like, that's the new craze and everything like that. And you shared something with me about people like venture capitalists and different people who may have money, and they're actively like looking for people's ideas. Can you kind of speak on
Mhm.
that to kind of give people a little heads up about, being too free with their ideas with the public? Can you kind of talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit?
So from experience, when you are an inventor, you're very paranoid. You're always thinking somebody's going to steal your product. And so looking back, I initially thought it was fear, but looking back, it was really wisdom, because so many people steal ideas. In 2013, it changed from first to event to first to file. So even if you have created a product, if somebody else beats you and files a patent for it, it's no longer yours. You're stuck out. And so you have to learn how to articulate your idea without giving away your IP. You got to get real creative sometimes, because sometimes it's like, oh, I can't. It's hard to not talk about it without talking about what makes you different. But you need to learn how to articulate it in such a way. I learned this from an engineer a long time ago, because I was actually telling my secret sauce. In the beginning, I was scared, and then I was still telling it, and it was just like no. And so it was such a blessing that I was able to get the patent. But I do believe that a lot of people steal, especially from the Black culture, because they know that we thrive off ingenuity, and I mean, we just got some crazy, amazing ideas, and because it's an unfair advantage for us, um, it's really hard to get a patent because it's expensive. And so a lot of people do not have the money to get a patent. So they're trying to pitch VCs or pitch their idea. And a lot of times they'll say, you're too early, but they'll go behind you and try to steal your idea. And so I always say patent it first. Before you talk about anything, there is a thing called the poor man's patent system. It's not true. And that's why I talked about first to invent versus first to file. You used to could you used to could mail yourself your idea. That's no longer, you cannot do that. And so I would really say keep it to yourself before you start talking about it. Because once it becomes public knowledge, you have up to 1 year before you can file a patent. Because if you don't file it in a year, you can't file it.
Gotcha. And let's kind of talk a little bit more about that, because some people, like, they think they may have like a NDA, right? Let's talk about
Mhm.
NDAs. Like, it's like, oh, I'm covered because I have an NDA. So if I show my cousin, and their cousin has money and they go take it away, that's one thing. But
Mhm.
we talked a little bit about big box companies and how they don't care if you do have a patent, because can you kind of go into that a little bit more? Like,
Right.
yeah, go ahead.
Right. I actually have. a company is infringing on me now, because even though I invented this product 7 years ago and I do have the IP for it, the big box companies came out with my product last year, but I am in a position that I can go after them because I own the IP. But a lot of people, a big box company will create something that has already been done and they will steal it from a smaller business because they feel like you cannot fight me in court. And so that's just the game that you learn when you're creating products and just different things. They feel like they can't fight me. So why not? Why not steal a market? Because they have the funds to beat you to market. They already have the market space. They already have the customers. And so a lot of them do that.
Wow, that's very good to know. So like what are some ways to that you can protect yourself like, from that? Like how would you like maneuver that if that's something that they would be interested in?
So I would file the patent. I would file a trademark for your product. I would also get into patent litigation insurance. And so you have a car, you need insurance for your car. You don't know if you're going to get into a car wreck or not, but you have that insurance in place in case you get into a car wreck. That's the same way with patent litigation insurance. And a lot of people do not know about patent litigation insurance. And I always tell, especially Black inventors, you need to have patent litigation insurance because they will cover you up to $2 million. So if someone is infringing on you or the other way around, um, instead of you going at them with hundreds of thousands of dollars, because a lot of people have spent six figures going after big companies. You have patent litigation insurance, most of them cover up to $2 million. They can fight for you.
Wow, that's really good coverage there. That's good to know. Good to know. So mainly, pretty much get your funds in order. Number one, number two, keep it to yourself. Even if
Yeah,
you do have an NDA, you do run the risk of a larger corporation stealing your idea with the attitude they can't beat me, take me to court.
exactly.
And they have pretty deep pockets. So that's really good to know. Keep your information offline. A lot of people felt safe talking about things on Clubhouse. However, people are still recording things on there. And if they aren't recording it, a lot of people are on there looking for ideas. And
Exactly.
yeah, and me and Reginald talked about that before. The hardest thing to do is to actually think. A lot of people don't want to think. They have some people have the money and all of that, or they don't have the creativity. So if you're coming up with these ideas and having all these thoughts and things like that, these ideas can be stolen from you if you're not taking the proper procedures to do that. Thank you so much for that information about the poor man's patent, because a lot of people I've heard that recently on a mainstream talk show that you can do that. So it's good to know the actual legalities that has changed. Now I
Hmm.
have a question here. It looks like from Reginald. It says, what type of ideas can be patented?
So you can pretty much patent any idea that hasn't been done yet. I mean, it just really doesn't, from technology to um, from technology to say what, software, many different things. So if it hasn't been done, make sure you file a patent. So, and even if it has been done, a lot of times people will. So even though there are many patents for flat irons, but I changed it and I improved it. So you can get a patent for improving a product that's already on the market. And I'm improving a product because our product is powered by USB. That's the first one. But we have another technology that's also amazing. That's amazing. I'm so excited about it. But because no one, so back in 14, when no one saw USBs, I was able to get it because even though flat irons are available, there are no flat irons that had USB power sources to it.
Wow. And for everyone that's out there, can you break down the difference between a patent, a copyright, and then a trademark? What's the
So
difference?
a patent is protecting an idea. A trademark is protecting the name. So you can protect a name and you can protect typical products. So McDonald's has a trademark on McDonald's, but they also have a trademark on McNuggets. So it's more so you're protecting a name and a tagline. Copyright is like writing material, plays, books, things of that nature, designs, things of that nature. And I also wanted to say when you say get your funds together, a lot of times people don't know we are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So a lot of people, you don't really have to put a lot of money up. If there are so many resources that we don't know about, there are resources for pro bono services. So you can go to the USPTO website, look from your state, and they'll have pro bono services listed to get your patent for free.
You literally took the next question out of my brain. So you said it's uspto.com or .gov?
.gov.
.gov. I'm putting this right now in the comment section. So USP is in Paul, T is in Tom, O is in octopus.gov. This is where you can go to get some free resources to get the funding that you need for your patent. Okay. Right. So and that's very good, because how much is it? It's about 10 grand, you said, for a patent?
It just depends. It can range from 10 to 20,000. It just really depends. I've seen some for 20,000.
Wow. And can you talk a little bit, we talked about this before, about the difference of making sure that you have a credible lawyer and having a general covering versus like one that doesn't cover a lot? Can you hit on that?
So I was actually blessed because my contract was omitted. There was a clause in there where, so whenever you get an office action, your lawyer will have a clause that says, in the event that your patent is declined and I have to go amend it, you have to pay such and such. Somehow it was omitted, so I didn't have to pay for it. So that's why my patent was still expensive, but it wasn't as expensive as a typical patent. But when you go before a lawyer, a lot of people think that, I thought that when I first started that it was all inclusive. It's not. That it's not all inclusive, because the lawyer can't say, oh, let's pay $2,500 initially, because they don't know if you're going to get rejected, and they don't know how many times you're going to get rejected. And so it's almost like you're paying as you go.
And for every time that you're rejected, you have to pay pretty much like another 15 grand.
$1,500 to $2,500.
So every time.
That's the same way with trademarks. Trademarks have office actions too, and you have to pay if they have to rewrite your trademark information, they will charge you also like an additional $500.
One of the things that we also talked about was you being approached by a network. And a lot of people, I think a lot of us are starting to wake up, but some of us still have this burning desire to be a part of the establishment or to be recognized by certain companies and corporations and people. The issue that comes with that, especially if you come off as, what is the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say desperate, but if you come off like, oh, this is my shot, like I really, really need this, people can sense that, But the cool part that I just respect and love was that you read the contract that they presented you to come onto their network. We're gonna leave the network out of it with the name, but you pretty much, can you talk about, like, I want to make people aware of these pitfalls, because this is like new territory for a lot of us. And so, being blindsided by this is definitely something, like, I feel like, I'm the older sister, for everybody, especially with the audience. So it's like, beware of these particular, like, VCs and a lot of these networks, due to the fact that they can actually own or take ownership of your idea if you appear. Can you kind of talk about like that a little bit?
Yes. So I was approached by a network, and I was so excited. You wait for these opportunities, and when they come, you're screaming at the top of your lungs. And so I remember I was so excited, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going on TV. And maybe 3 days later, they sent me the contract, and I had this gut feeling. And I was like, go with your gut. And so I was like, I just didn't know why. All of a sudden, I was like, this is not a good door to walk through. And I began to read the contract, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was almost like they would take my proprietary information, or they would have ownership over it. And I was months away from getting my patent. And I was like, no, I worked too hard to try to get this patent. I cried too many tears. Okay. I cried too many tears for this patent. And I was like, no. And I think that, especially inventors, it's your baby. You want a deal so bad. And not even just an inventor, you have created a whole company and you're desperate for funding because it is so hard for Black founders to get funding. It's very hard. And so you want a deal so bad that a lot of times we go into it blindsided. And in the end, we're like, oh my gosh, I made a huge mistake. And I think what a lot of people don't know, especially when it comes to VC, they are like vultures. They're really good money. So you have to know where you're going. And because I don't have an exit strategy, I'm going to keep Porshair in my family until I die because it's attached to legacy. And so I am not going to get acquired. I am not going to sell my company. And so I will not be an ideal company for a VC because a VC wins on the end. They win when you get acquired. They win when and so they put up all this money. And what a lot of people don't know, especially with VC, the more money that you get, sometimes you are diluted. Your ownership is diluted. And that's why a lot of times when you watch Shark Tank, they'll ask you how many C rounds have you raised, because you're constantly diluting your ownership. And a lot of times you've raised so much money from so many VCs or so many outside investors that you don't even own your own company no more. And so what they can do is vote you out in different things. And it's like, all for money. All money is not good. I do not believe that you should walk through every door. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And that kind of, I think, piggybacks off of Kim Lewis, the founder of, the co-founder of Curlmix,
Mhm.
when she turned down a $400,000 investment because if you guys want to check it out, go back and look at that video that I did with the co-founder of Curlmix, and she talked about how they came up with a BATNA. They went through the BATNA process, right? Their number that they were going to walk away from if they didn't get a particular number. So they already knew going in. And we have to start as a community, especially business people, become more savvy and start playing chess and not checkers.
Exactly.
So like, and not being blindsided and like, oh, they're offering us $400,000. Well, they value your company. You have to understand and know like what value does it put on your
Exactly.
company? Does it
Exactly.
devalue it or does it increase? Just depending
Exactly.
on that. So, you actually turned down some money. Can you kind of talk about that?
Last May, I turned down. I had 7 years of no's. So I received my first yes last year, and I turned down $250,000. I knew it wasn't a good fit for me because I could only buy my ownership back in 5 years. And so they were trying to do a certain percentage of equity in my company. And what a lot of startup companies don't know, you should not give a lot of equity away, especially starting out. It's just the wrong choice. And so another thing is that I could not do due diligence on my investors. I didn't know, it was like 10 of them, and I didn't know who everyone was. I felt rushed. And I was thinking, no, I think you should always do due diligence because you want an investor who has the they get you, they understand the product. Because a lot of times we get investors and they're just there for the money. But a lot of times they'll invest in you and then they'll try to control you. They'll try to say what you need to do. But the founder knows the vision. And so you can't allow an investor to come in just because you gave me $300,000 to come in and change my whole vision, because at the end of the day, I know where I want to go. And I turned it down because I could not do my due diligence. And so I just felt like I walked away from that door because it's bigger than money. It's bigger than money. It will forever be bigger than money. And I just want people to realize that if God opens a door, no man can shut it. No man can shut it. And so I didn't go through the door. And so I'm just expecting a greater door to come. And I believe I'm about to walk through it as we speak.
I hear you. And you know what? And to kind of harp on that a little bit more, it's about freedom for a lot of people. That's why we do this. We do this so that we can, you know, pretty much have our own be in control of our destiny. We only get one life, and you know, to have your entire life somebody else controlling it. I think a lot
Yes.
of us have waking up. COVID has exposed a lot of things in various industries across the board in relation to business. You know how much corruption that there is, how much just, you know, just underhanded things that are going on, and that is, you know, it's about freedom. And the thing is, do not get fooled by the front end of the check. Look at all these stores. I mean, in the music industry, your intellectual property, whether it's music, whether it's ideas for patents, whether it's movies, scripts, that is your asset that you need to protect. And then also keep ownership of, if you want to continue, you know, to continue to have your freedom, unless you have a strategy that all you want to do is write and sell it. That's
Right,
but if
right.
you're looking for freedom, you need to really take a look at ownership and then also protecting what you create. I truly believe that that is what God gave us, these ideas, in order to elevate us and to help us to break those poverty
Exactly.
cycles, chains, and to bring you to another level, because you can't help someone when you're constantly needing things. So these
Exactly.
ideas that he give you, you know, they're there for you to take you to the next level. It's up to
Exactly.
you to plant the seed, cultivate it, and make sure that you treat it right. Now, the last and very final thing I want to talk about, we talked about it a little bit, and it was about the people not seeing your vision. Visionaries, you said yesterday, visionaries will always see. Okay. And I was talking to my father in law about this, and I was talking about how I would never force my child to a certain career, or demand that, you know, because we have five, so that you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a dentist, because I don't know what their purpose is.
Right.
All I can do is pay attention to them and make sure that I cultivate whatever that is. And it comes out as they grow. I truly believe that. And then also, even with a partner, if you are not, if your spouse, or whoever you're dating, for those who are single out there who are dating, um, if they know what their purpose is, or you know what your purpose is, and they aren't helping you to cultivate that, that is going to harbor a lot of resentment, even though it may be something that's silent for years to come.
Exactly.
It's important to get with like-minded people, and it's also important to cultivate your children, because you're all going to be more harmonious and more at peace, and because you're walking in your purpose. So essentially, talk about, I guess I want you to kind of chime in on your perspective of what you said about visionaries will always see.
Visionaries will always see, and you can't get mad when people don't see how you see, because you're looking from a different altitude, you're looking from a different perspective, you're looking from a different set of lens. And so I had to really learn that, and it just really clicked at the end of last year. I was on Clubhouse and I was talking about my product, and someone was sharing that they had come up with the idea for like DoorDash years ago, and they tried to tell people the idea, and everyone was like, we can't see that. And so now you're looking at, we're getting in cars with perfect strangers. Uber. We are having people bring our food to us who we don't know. But that is 2021. And you're thinking 5 years ago, that's like, oh, that's stranger danger, you know? But I just really it really clicked for me last year when I was on Clubhouse, that as a visionary, you see light years before someone. And so my product, even though it came to me in 2013, I pitched it to so many investors, so many engineers, so many different individuals, and I got laughed at. I had people tell me it'll never happen, that I would get litigations. I had engineers tell me that this product was impossible. But I knew what I was given. And I knew that I don't care who said they didn't see it. I believed in myself. And as a visionary, once you really believe, and once you really know that you are a visionary, you a trailblazer. Okay, trailblazer, you gotta know that it doesn't matter who else doesn't see your product. Now you gotta determine, like, is this a good product? And everybody's telling me no, because it ain't gonna ever happen, or it's just a product that you're well ahead of your time. And I just had to learn that because I do believe God called me to be a visionary. And I saw something 7 years before the big box companies saw it. And so it's not that they were rejecting me, it's because I was so ahead of the game. It's because I have foresight years ahead of the game. And it just really taught me, do not allow people to diminish your ideas. Do not allow people to make you feel like your ideas are stupid, because I had so many people tell me that, like, this is crazy. This girl is crazy. And I was thinking, no, I got crazy faith. That's what I got. And so it just, everything just came full circle when I saw the big box company come out with my product. And I was just like, I knew it. I knew it was something to this. And it's crazy because in 2015, I went to a college to build my product, and they turned me down because they said, you're building a whole new power system and we don't know how to do it. 5 years later, I went back to that company and they are my subcontractors. And so now they see it. It's just, as a visionary, people can't see what you see. And a lot of times you just may be too far ahead of the game. The market is not primed for your product yet. And so even though you hear no, 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 it's just because you're so ahead of time. You're seeing what nobody else can.
That is so amazing. So I hope that y'all hear that. Anybody that's out there that sees this broadcast and you have an idea and someone may, but you know in your heart that it is, gonna revolutionize whatever industry that it is, do not let it die just because someone else said, oh, that's weird, or that's dumb, or that's not gonna work. A lot of people, they don't even know, they halfway know what time it is. you know you know what I'm saying? Like, I really, like throughout the course of creating, this documentary and everything like that, my confidence in, as far as intuition and things like that has grown. You can't tell me that certain things are impossible
Right.
anymore. You know what I mean? I don't believe it. you know
Right.
so just be encouraged and get around like-minded people. Sometimes, and then a lot of times your family does mean well. They don't want to see you hurt. They don't want to see you disappointed, and that's
Right.
all good and great. But the thing is, you have to, it's up to you. It is your responsibility to bring forth your ideas.
Exactly.
So you know what, Portia, this has been an excellent, excellent conversation. We're gonna definitely have to bring you back. I can actually talk for hours
Ah,
about this. I love talking about business, and I love just learn. Like, I've learned so much just by talking to you these last couple of days, because I had no idea that the poor man's patent is no longer valid. So I
right.
mean, and
Right.
I'm sure somebody else have had heard about it, and y'all, hey, it's not valid anymore. If you guys need some help in relation to a pro bono lawyer for a patent, go to USP as in Paul, T as in Tom, O as in octopus.gov. Find some resources there. And how can people find you, on your social media handles and things like that, if they want to connect and if they have any questions?
So you can contact me on, I am Porsha Tenea. I am PORSHA TENEA. That's my Instagram. The business Instagram is Porshair Official. So it's PORSHIR official.
All right, awesome. And right now, just to plug this, Natural Hair the movie is available on Amazon and Vimeo as well. We have merchandise, as you can see. I have my hat, and then also my shirt, nappy, beautiful, unkept. Those are crossed out because we are beautiful, and don't you forget it. You can get that at shop.naturalhairthemovie.com. I'll be sure to Portia to send you your shirt as well.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to get it.
Awesome, awesome. We have Bernice Mendez. Hello, hello. She said amen while you were talking. So we're all in agreement with that. All right. Thank you so much. You all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Check back in with us next week. We are going to have the founder of Coiled. It's a salon in Schenectady, New York. She was one of the first people to screen our film, and we're going to talk to her about the film and about what she's working on and what she's doing. All right. Thank y'all so much. Stay beautiful and stay great. Until next time. Bye.